Hello, everybody. Okay, so this is a first for me. I am going live on multiple platforms. So this will be an experience. Please leave a comment if you're watching. And even if you're watching later at the broadcast, please feel free to comment. I respond to all notifications, as many of you know. So I'm going to wait a few minutes for people to hop on here. And you do have to give StreamYard access if you want your comments to show up with your name. So I love knowing who is watching and who I'm talking to. So if you would be willing to give StreamYard permission through at the very top of the post, there's a StreamYard link that you can give access to it, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to jump right in. I made notes today, so I usually kind of just go through kind of my thoughts, but I wanted to make sure this was a really organized conversation. So I am going to be kind of reading today, so I apologize, but hopefully you can bear with me as I do that. So just to start, there's a lot of rumors out there, and it's really, really hard to know who to trust when it comes to the housing market and what's actually happening. So for this market update, I want to dig into forbearance, foreclosure, lumber prices, and kind of navigating all of that, because there's so much talk about it out there in the world, as you guys have probably heard, and everyone has a different take, and headlines like to exaggerate things. So let's dig into what's actually happening. So I'm Jamie Flanagan. I am the CEO of Big Picture Real Estate Group with eXp Realty. And I'm a very firm believer in creating solutions instead of just talking about problems. So we want to work toward a win-win scenario when it comes to real estate. And by the way, if you're watching this, I would really, really appreciate if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will get updates that way, and we will be doing market updates as well as more videos like this that are truly educational for what's going on in the current market. So thank you for subscribing. And to go back to that conversation, there's a really, really big conversation that needs to be had, and nobody seems to be talking about it. That's why I decided to go live on every single platform that I have access to. I think I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn right now. So again, say hi if you're watching. So let's talk about it. What is that question? Well, what happens if you filed for forbearance and you will not be able to make your payments moving forward? And maybe you don't really know what to do or how to navigate that. So with that being said, the market right now is a seller's market. What does that mean? Well, there's way more buyers in the market than there are sellers. So we are looking for inventory. There's plenty of people out there looking for homes. And so to start, if you are in a position where you filed for forbearance and you're not really sure what that's going to look like when the payments come due, or you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, because there's a lot of statistics around this, but there's a large number of people who aren't going to be able to make their mortgage payments moving forward. And you know what? That's okay, because right now is a great time to sell. And so what I encourage you to do is to start having a conversation with a trusted real estate agent. Discuss your options and your situation right away. You can look at options like selling now to capitalize on your equity. I know a lot of people that we talk to every day in this situation usually bring up the fact that they don't have the funds to fix up their home. And so that's actually a really, really good reason why you should look at selling now versus waiting, because there are buyers in the market right now for every home and in every single condition. When the market shifts to more of a buyer's market, you as a seller will have to do more work to get an offer, because there's going to be less buyers and more sellers. And if multiple people that are in the same situation put their houses on the market, guess what? We're going to have an influx of inventory. Not saying that's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know when things can shift or will shift. However, I do know that the market right now is great for a seller. So that's why we're having this conversation. If you are in the Omaha area, I would love to talk with you if this is speaking to you. So we always give our clients multiple options for a sale. So when we meet with a seller, we're going to give them an option as far as a as-is purchase cash offer, basically investor buy, fixing it up or doing minimal work and getting X dollars. So we've got the cash price, the middle price, and then we've got the do all of the things, get it in pristine condition, and you can maximize your sale price, which is what most of our clients do. And the reason being is we actually have several vendors who will get paid at closing. So they're fronting the upfront cost to get the home ready, and they're getting paid at closing, knowing that this market is phenomenal and the house is going to close because it's going to sell. So Big Picture Real Estate Group basically becomes a project manager on your behalf. We have the contractors come in, they do the work. Let's say the bill is $10,000. We just take that off your equity at closing, and you now got the best of both worlds. You got to fix up your house and capitalize on the most equity possible. So going back to the forbearance, it's definitely not easy to talk to anyone about tough financial decisions that need to be made, especially when so many people have different opinions. So our family will tell us one thing, our friends have a completely different thing to say, our neighbors will tell us something different. Neighbors are probably my favorite because it's like all of a sudden one house sells for a certain amount and then everyone kind of hears the buzz, and it's kind of like the game telephone when by the time it gets to you, the story is completely different than what actually happened. So having a conversation with a trusted professional real estate agent is going to be key. Not to say that your neighbors, your friends, and your family don't have good opinions, but actually analyzing, finding out what you owe on the home, finding out what work needs to be put into the home. Those are conversations to have with an agent who can help you accomplish that goal. So being a little vulnerable here, I don't think I've ever shared this publicly other than close friends and family, but I personally went through a short sale as a 20-year-old. And unfortunately, in 2008, it was really, really difficult to find anyone that you could trust. So what that meant is I was navigating something really, really tough with absolutely no help. And literally, if the only word I can describe about what I went through is taken advantage of. To give you a little bit about the situation is a friend of mine said, hey, I have a house that I'm putting on the market. I got a deal on it. Do you want to buy it for a deal? Of course I want to buy it for a deal. And I was like 19 at the time. So stated income loans were a thing. And what 19-year-old doesn't want to own a home, and had this, I'm a dreamer. So that played into it. And like, yeah, let's do this. Well, long story short, buy the home, the taxes didn't get escrowed. All of a sudden I get a huge tax bill in the mail. So I had to figure out how to pay a tax bill that I had no money to pay. I had zero, there was no way I could pay this. I could barely pay the mortgage. So now I have to figure out this tax bill that was out there. The guy that sold me my house came back to me and said, hey, I have all the receipts from the work that I did on your home, and I'm now a mortgage officer. So I'd be happy to help you refinance your house, and I can use the receipts that I have to get you more money. So basically, I'll get you cash out of the home that you just bought. So, okay, so refinance. All I heard was, I'm going to get you out of a shitty situation. Excuse my language. And so I did it. We refinanced the house, and that bought me a little bit of time. But lo and behold, I had the second mortgage, and I couldn't afford the payment. So at the end of the day, I ended up short selling the house, and the guy that sold me my house, refinanced my house, also bought my house from the short sale. So if you want to talk about how crazy the market and how just terrible things were happening then, that's the perfect situation. And I share that story simply because it was always something really hard to talk about because it's embarrassing. And I can attribute so much of my passion for helping people in real estate to that exact situation. I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't go through it. I wouldn't know what I know about real estate if I hadn't gone through it. And so 15 years later now, I am so dedicated and devoted to my clients and making sure that they get the most for their house. And I will do whatever it takes to make that happen because of that situation. So people will ask me in this market, why would you stage a home in this market? The house is going to sell no matter what. And here's the thing. They're right. The house is going to sell no matter what. Why do I stage, and why do I still do all the work needed? Because I want to get my clients top dollar. And that's why I basically I can't tell you the last time I used to call for sale by owners and do all of these things. And now most of our business is referral only. It's what goes around comes around, right? And I pour into my clients. So, and I believe in helping people and making sure that they get what they deserve out of their home. So creating that timeline for the client and making sure that you understand if you're if you are in a position where, hey, I am in a financial hardship, I don't think I'm going to be able to make my payment after September or whatever that date might be, we'll work backwards and we'll do what we need to do to not only hit your timeline, but make sure that we get the most for your house. Now, every situation is going to be a little bit different. And when we look at your home, if you're not going to be able to make your payment next month, well, then that's going to be, our timeline is going to be a little different. We may not put all the work into it because we're more worried about saving you a late payment, because a late payment is going to cost you a lot more than us doing a little bit of work to, make you a few $1,000s. We want to look at every situation that you have in front of you, or every possible scenario, I should say, and what's going to be the best for you. And that's what we do with every single client. Our team will offer you sound advice and multiple options on how to sell your home. We will never, ever advise you to take a lowball cash offer. Generally speaking, we do have investors that we work with, and we do have an as-is price that we can provide you. What I mean when I say a lowball cash offer is somebody knocks on your door and gives you, says, I want to buy your house for X, and you think it might be a good deal, but you don't really know. Call and get an opinion. Call me. I can pull up your address in about 15 minutes, and you can tell me a little bit about the home and pull it up on Google Maps, and I can at least give you a rough idea of what your home is worth, and then schedule a time to come look at it if we'd like to, if the conversation goes that route. So always get a second opinion. All right. So staying on track here. Sorry. So what I was saying is we do offer a quick sale cash option that's fair. So again, going back to my previous situation and just where I felt taken advantage of, when we've purchased homes, or when I have an investor purchase a home, generally speaking, they're giving fair market value, but we're taking several things into consideration. So what I mean is we're probably paying more than your average investor, and we're okay with it, because we feel that doing right by the client is what's going to be best for everyone long term. And so far, it's played out really well for us. And we just believe that that's the way to do business. So, all right. Sorry, I'm trying to stay on track here. I hope if you know somebody who you may have heard through the grapevine might be in a financial struggle right now, that you would share this video with them or have them call us, because we would love to talk to them about what their options might be. The thing is, you could walk away from your home with enough equity to purchase something else that puts you in a stronger financial position. So what I mean by that is, let's say you are behind on your payments, or you think you're going to get behind on your payments, and you're in a $250,000 house, you owe, let's say, $200,000. You're sitting on, after closing costs and whatnot, you have possibly $40,000 in equity. What does that look like? Well, there are 3% and 5% down options. So what if you sold your house, paid off your credit card debt, paid off your car, eliminated some payments, and purchased another home, allowing you to be overall in a way better financial situation and never have to have a late payment? That's what I mean by looking at your options and making sure that we give you top dollar, because if you can maximize your equity and do big things with it, it can change your financial picture long term. And this little short stint of a pandemic it's like, okay, it happened, it sucks, let's move on and do better next time, right? Not do better, because nobody planned this. It's just stuff happens and we need to navigate how to get out of it. So we're talking about it being a seller's market though. So you sell your home. Now, where do you go? Well, we always have homes coming to the market, and we do the required work, just like when we have somebody put their house on the market as a seller, and we go through and stage it and get professional photos done and have a, general contractor come through or a handyman come through and fix it up. We're doing the same amount of work for the buyer side. we are making calls on a regular basis. We've got builders that we work with, builder relationships. And we have several clients who are in the process of getting their home ready to sell. So we have a pool of sellers available. It's just more navigating where they're going to move to. And so with that, we've converted several of our rental properties into short-term furnished rentals. So that means you could sell your home, move into a furnished rental, and write an offer on your next home without being contingent, if that makes sense. So in today's market, being a seller's market, it's really hard to write an offer and get that offer accepted on another house when you are contingent on your current home selling in order to make that happen. So what we do is we eliminate that whole contingency process. We sell your home and either negotiate where you can stay in the home until you find your next home, or you can move into one of our short-term rentals, and now you can write offers without having a contingency, and you're month to month, so you're not stuck in a lease. So it's another thing that we've done as a team to make it easier on our clients. So while we're navigating that process, we are literally making calls, sending messages, doing videos like this to find our clients' homes. Recently, I had an out-of-town client, and there was nothing on the market. So I made a couple posts in a couple different Facebook groups, and lo and behold, we found several off-market properties to view. So that was awesome. And, not many agents are doing that. There's a lot of really good agents that are doing it, but they're far and few between. So we are going to do everything possible that we can think of. We'll get creative to find you a home. So I also mentioned possibly building a home. So lumber prices are up, right? Everyone talks about lumber prices are through the roof and they're skyrocketed and there's a lumber shortage. So I want to bring something to everyone's attention. If you're talking to builders right now, or you're looking at building a home, lumber prices have actually come down. So when you're talking to a builder, make sure that they're quoting you prices based on today's lumber prices, not what they were last month. And I share this because I have had a few experiences where I've noticed people are still getting quoted high lumber prices, and they have come down. Yes, they're still high, but they have come down. I work with THI builders here in Omaha, and when I talk about, working with people you trust, THI is a builder that I absolutely trust. They are local to Gretna, and they literally care so much and that's why I work with them and they work with me. We trust each other. We trust, the clients trust working with them. And it's a really good thing when you have, the person building your home is, going to bat for you and making sure that they build you your dream home and go above and beyond simply because they care. They are just the most fair and honest people when it comes to pricing a home. I have tons of stories about that in itself, just talking to them through like what upgrades are going to be and the models that we're building and the spec homes that we're doing. So that's been a fun process with them. So if you're thinking about building a home, I would love to meet with you. I would love for THI builders to be on your list of builders to interview. So going back to just recap of this whole thing, education is key. And we will make sure that we walk you through a timeline on how to sell and maximize your equity. We just don't want you to miss a payment and that to sneak up on you and turn it into something more, especially something like a foreclosure. Recent late payments and foreclosures make it pretty tough to buy a house. And that's the last thing we want to have you in a situation for. So if you're watching this and feel like this applies to you, please send us a direct message, shoot us a text, email us. You can Google me. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us. Please feel free to subscribe. We're going to keep putting out video content like this and educating on the current market. And we just hope that we encourage comments and feel free to shoot us direct messages as well so that we know what topics to cover in the future. Because even, it might not feel comfortable to comment on a post like this, especially when we're talking about forbearance and tough stuff, but feel free to direct message us and then we can openly talk about that topic without you actually commenting, if that makes sense. So subscribe to our channels. We really appreciate you watching this today and look forward to helping you in any of your real estate needs.